Now, a couple of characters that I'm really looking forward to seeing in Star Wars Episode 9 range from Kylo Ren, the Knights of Ren, and even Rey in this story by J.J. Abrams. This is Mike Zero. If you guys are new to the channel, do make sure to subscribe to see future Star Wars content. Now, when we look at Episode 9, we do know that J.J. Abrams is going to be adding in a lot of dark elements into this movie. That's really going to have a lot of medieval elements in this Star Wars movie that will conclude the Skywalker saga. Now, these past couple of weeks or so, we've been learning a whole lot more about this film when it comes to some of the set leaks, the set designs, the concept art, and storyboard descriptions, etc. One of which has all to do with various shot descriptions of a moment in the second act of the film. Specifically, descriptions of a large battle on the bridge of a castle on a grassy world, with many mountains in the background. It's described to be a world like Scotland in space, that takes place in the second act of the movie. The next goes over Rey with an ignited blue lightsaber, which is Anakin's reforged, in a standoff with Kylo Ren, while he is wearing his helmet, wielding his crossguard lightsaber, planted into the stone bridge. Dozens of Resistance fighters and stormtroopers, as well as new creatures in armor, are running around in the background. Rey is shouting at Kylo Ren across the bridge, provoking him to attack. In the sequence, the Knights of Ren are all backing Kylo Ren up. However, Kylo eventually commands them to invade the castle behind Rey and claims something of value and significance to the story. Surprisingly, the Knights walk casually past Rey as Kylo wants Rey to himself, which transitions to a miniature lightsaber duel between Kylo and Rey. It's said to be around the same length of Finn fighting Traitor in Episode 7, The Force Awakens, and very fast-paced, where Kylo truly has the upper hand, eventually knocking her down on the bridge and pointing his crossguard lightsaber at her in a similar fashion to what Vader did to Luke in Empire Strikes Back. Just as Kylo is about to strike Rey down, Poe and Finn blow the bridge out, separating Rey and Kylo, where Rey retreats and jumps on the ramp of the ship, with Poe and Finn pulling her up, with a bird's eye view of the Knights exiting the castle and looking up as the ship leaves the atmosphere. So I really want to go over a couple of parts about this quickly because this is very interesting stuff indeed within the second act of the movie. Now, like I say, we are getting two lightsaber duels between both Kylo Ren and Rey in this movie, one of which is going to be very small, the other of which is going to be the lengthy duel at the very end of the film involving the new villain as well in Episode 9. So, I want to go over this castle. Now, I'm pretty sure that this castle is what we have been talking about for a couple of days now, actually, dubbed as the Dark Spire. Now, this is not to be confused with the Black Spire over at Star Wars Galaxy's Edge. I mean, maybe it's the same thing, I'm not quite sure. It could very well be the planet of Batu for all we know. But this world is described to be very grassy, as if it's Scotland in space, with a lot of mountains in the background. And it's going to have a lot of medieval tones and elements to this sequence. So, what I find very, very interesting about this is that we get this standoff between both Rey and Kylo, where Kylo is wearing his traditional helmet that a lot of fans, including myself by the way, really do love, that will be making its way back into this movie, except a little bit different. It's described to have a lot of red lines going through it to really show us how more evil he's going to be in this movie and more sinister, and I guess you could say more intimidating of a character to the heroes. So, this whole entire sequence between both Kylo Ren and Rey consists of a standoff with Kylo commanding his knights to enter this abandoned castle, or this castle in general that does hold something of value and of significance to the plot of this movie. Now, what are they really trying to retrieve inside of this castle? Well, I'm starting to believe that this is going to be the MacGuffin of Episode 9. The MacGuffin is actually often described as something that's going to be very controversial in this movie, and also something that's going to change throughout the plot of the film. So that's one thing to keep in mind here, is that the MacGuffin, by the way, the MacGuffin is a plot device that moves the story forward. An example is Luke's lightsaber in Episode 7 was the MacGuffin. So that's one example right there. So now in Episode 9, this whole entire fight between the two, what I find so poetic is that eventually it leads to a moment where Kylo has the upper hand, and Rey is knocked down on the ground, on the bridge, on this stone bridge, on her back, with Kylo Ren pointing his crossguard lightsaber at her, directly mirroring what Darth Vader did in Empire when he's got Luke Skywalker pinned down to the ground, pointing his lightsaber at his son, saying, "You are beaten." You know, they did something similar in Star Wars Rebels, where Ahsoka Tano, I believe, did this to one of the Inquisitors. If my memory is right now, she did something like that in Rebels at one point in time. So you can see the parallels, you can see the similarities and the mirrors in Episode 9 of what JJ's trying to do to make it somewhat reflect that of the original trilogy. And, you know, in a strange way, you know, in The Empire Strikes Back, that was still, you know, somewhat of a bridge as well. So you can see the parallels right there. And this is where eventually both Finn and Poe come in on Rey's position. They blow the bridge out, separating both herself and, of course, Kylo, and Rey retreats and jumps on board, getting away from Kylo and the Knights. So, very interesting piece in the second act for sure. Let me know what you guys think about all of this below in the comments, and if you guys did enjoy the content for today, do make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. I thank you all so very much for the kind support, and I'll catch you guys next time.